Hey guys, so as usual, all information on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended to provide financial advice. Alright, it's 8:34 Eastern. We just had a daily candle close, so I wanted to run through a market update really quick here. So if you're a brand new trader and you know absolutely nothing about trading, at the very least you should be able to notice that something's going on right now, okay? You can see here it's a triangle. Everybody loves to draw triangles. Everybody loves their diagonal lines, okay? Some people abhor diagonal lines. They prefer horizontal lines. Anyway, the other thing you can notice is this a bull pennant versus an equilateral triangle? I'm just going to say stay neutral for now. Say it's an equilateral triangle, okay? The other thing you'll notice, even if you're a new trader and you're paying attention to volume, this is futures, coin futures. You can see volume is contracting here. Even though this exchange is basically fee-free per trade, which I tend to avoid looking at those exchanges for volume. Pretty much any Chinese exchange has no fee trading. So that usually means that the volume is generally garbage because it's really all over the place and meaningless, and we'll show examples of exchanges with fees, but the point is, even if you're new, you should be able to get this far. So let's break down the triangle and the charts that I go through to try to decipher, is there a bullish bias or a bearish bias before this breaks out, okay? So we have the weekly Bitstamp. This is the cloud. We're above the cloud. Okay, so that automatically says there's a bullish bias. The other thing I notice is we've had 3 wicks into this cloud, attempts to break down that have been denied. To me, at this moment, that says there is substantial support at this level. So this is a real zone. This is a real reversal zone. This is a real support, however you want to say it. The other thing you'll notice, you can see volume. It's hard to tell on the weekly because this has only been like 3-4 weeks, but you can see volume contraction here, okay? Even though Stamp has garbage volume total, you can see relatively there has been a decline in volume week over week, okay? That says there's volume contraction, that it's preparing for a bigger move. So we move on to daily Bitstamp. Again, above the cloud, above the Kijun, above the Tenkan-sen, that says bullish bias, okay? I should automatically be searching for longs more than I should be searching for shorts. This is in a bull trend overall. Yes, we're sideways, but overall we're in a bull trend. Again, volume contraction, and you can see we keep bouncing on the Kijun, which is the 50% fib, and we'll show you that on another chart, which is another good reason for continuation. One thing that worries me about the daily on some of these exchanges is there's a flat Kumo here, which is generally a level where the price likes to test before going in any direction at all. Another concerning thing is this Kijun is flat. Price likes to test that before going any further. What I'm expecting to happen is that I'm expecting Tenkan-sen and Kijun to just sort of meet around the cloud, and then we'll get a decision at that point. That will sort of mark the end of the triangle, okay? And I'll explain that in another way on another chart. So again, we have the daily cloud. This time I added some fibs, okay? Now you can see where the cloud's drawing this Kijun from is from this 50% fib. And you can see, where's that from? Where's the 50% fib from? It's from this latest move, this whole move, okay? So it's looking at this whole move because it's the past 30 periods back. Okay, I know this might not add up to 30. So anyway, it's looking at this fib right now. So that's where it's pulling all this fib stuff from. Another thing I drew on here was this fib from basically this move here. So they gave us a fib extension, some fib extensions to play with, okay, as far as resistance for the next move up. The other thing I have on here is this is the fib from the all-time high to a local low on the daily or weekly chart. I'll show you that on another chart. But the point of this is saying that of Bitcoin's history right now, we are basically 50% from all-time high to low. So that also says that this zone is really being respected and watched right now. It's not a coincidence that this triangle is pointing towards this 50% fib, okay? And it might go in either direction. If you're playing fibs, the first targets are the 382 and the 618. Again, there's a bullish bias. I'm leaning up. That's why I'm leaning towards the 618 fib. You'll also notice that fib is the local top, basically, of this move, okay? So that's all not a coincidence. So when we're looking at targets for the move up, I highlighted this zone for resistance. It's between these two extensions of these two fibs, and it's also the 764 of the entire all-time high to low, okay? That's one way to look at it. So 6,300 on OKCoin daily is a target that we might see some resistance at. We'll obviously see resistance here because it's the previous top, okay? As far as down targets, we're looking at, like I said, this 382 or even just 2800. 382 being 3650 and the 2800 being just a complete retrace of the entire move, okay? So here's the Pitchfork Bitfinex. We can see this. I draw this differently in China, but on Bitfinex, I think this is the pitchfork that makes the most sense. And we can see that there is a zone here on this upper quartile of obvious resistance. For me, it lines up with this 764 fib. Again, all-time high to low. This is the fib. So this 920 zone makes a lot of sense as far as the target. Again, the 618, you can see we reversed. No coincidence. We reversed at the 382. No coincidence. The fibs are potential reversal zones. If you don't know anything about fibs, go and watch the fib video. I'll link it up in the annotations. So those are the targets on this pitchfork. If we switch to, this is Huobi. This is OKCoin pitchfork. This pitchfork to me makes not as much sense as the Bitfinex pitchfork. We're still reaching for the 618, the 764, which is this quartile quartile line, okay, which is around 6,300 again, which is what I was talking about with the other clouds and the fibs, and all the targets kind of mesh together, but 6,300 is the target. Last thing, as far as indicators go, if I'm looking at B-bands, which is my favorite sideways indicator, okay, we're looking at B-bands, we continue to get a squeeze. This is exactly what the triangle is telling us. We're reaching a point where we make a decision. You can see, so this is a B-band width indicator. You can see based on previous times we've squeezed down to this level, we've had a move, okay? Here we didn't necessarily get a head fake. A head fake is where we get a test of the opposite direction first. You could, I guess, consider this the head fake. We tested this band and then sort of springed up, okay? It's not represented here because the threshold isn't high enough. This is all pretty much uber sideways, so I wouldn't judge this as a B-band move as on net balance. It's not really a move of anything, even though B-bands were tight. This is more or less the ascending triangle. And then if we look at this move, this is definitely the head fake right here. You can see we were a few days we were below the median. Okay, red is below the median, green is above the median, and you can see we had a great head fake here. We tested this, even closed below the B-bands on the daily, which is super bearish on a tight move like that, because you could say at this point that the head fake, if we got to here, we could say, oh, the head fake was up, so we're going down now. But you sort of have to pay attention, I guess. That's my problem with B-bands. They're not always indicative of direction, but they are indicative of when we'll move. So we have this large squeeze. Based on all these things I've shown, I'm leaning bullish. I'm out of a trade right now. There's no reason to be in a trade in sideways. Why risk capital when you can just wait for the direction to happen? The targets are going to be obvious. They're going to be this first target's going to be the local high. The other target's going to be the local low and the complete retracement, okay? Like I showed on the other charts. So it's completely subjective and hard to articulate, but really all the other indicators bow down to the triangle. Oscillators, indicators are basically all meaningless, and we're just waiting on this triangle to pick a direction. The reason I like B-bands is because they sort of depict that the best, I think. And like I said, they don't necessarily choose the direction 100% of the time, but they do choose when we're going to break out or move. And then quickly, two other things to pay attention to. Oh, there's one more chart. So I've been posting this harmonic chart. Now, these harmonics don't exactly make much sense. This should be 886 if anything. So I posted this with this is the bearish. It's called bearish because we go up and then down. So crab and butterfly. Butterfly is 886. Crab is 1618. So we can see they sort of have these zones or targets for reversal. Crab makes the most sense because it's in this fib extension of this move here. It's also monthly R2 pivot. It's also this 1K psychological resistance that's on quarterly futures, okay? We're currently below the monthly pivot on quarterly futures. So the butterfly makes less sense because it's kind of no man's land as far as targets are concerned. In any case, if either one of these completes the retracement target, is basically the 618. Again, the crab makes more sense because the retracement target is basically this monthly R1 pivot. This retracement target is kind of in no man's land. 718, I don't know. So two other things real quick as far as fundamentals-ish are concerned. You can see if we're looking at futures premiums, quarterly still has a nice premium going. Weekly has a negative premium. If you remember from my last couple of videos, like when there's a negative premium, we don't make moves up on a negative premium, okay? So you can see here we moved up when the premium flipped positive. Blue is the weekly premium. Red is the quarterly premium, okay? So until weekly premium flips positive, we've got a negative premium between China and the West. So that says even more so that we're not moving up anytime soon until that flips. And the last thing I want to look at is BFX data. It's a Bitfinex long-short sentiment. So shorts and longs are both basically at all-time highs as far as capital, I guess, is concerned. Longs are at 41 million, shorts at 14 million, okay? So we could get a short or a long squeeze. A long squeeze would squeeze more people than a short squeeze, but post-halving dropping doesn't really make much sense, so I don't know. If I'm missing anything or explaining anything poorly, let me know in the comments, and happy trading.